He tossed the badge onto my pillow like it was nothing, like branding me was part of his morning routine. I told myself I didn't care, but the truth was my heart hammered every time his fingers brushed mine. Every time his quiet voice carried more weight than a command from any officer. The army dorm wasn't supposed to feel like a stage for some twisted romance. Yet sharing that cramped room with Sergeant Aiden Graves made every second unbearable and electric. He was everything the manuals told me to respect and fear. Disciplined, fearless, carved from steel. And me? I was the scrawny recruit who should have blended into the background. Except he wouldn't let me. "Keep it," he said flatly, nodding toward the badge. "It suits you." I wanted to ask why, but my throat closed. Every guy here knew the ritual badges were for brothers in arms, a symbol of unshakable loyalty. But when Aiden pinned it against my chest, fingers pressing a little too long, gaze lingering a little too deep, I knew he wasn't just following tradition. He was staking a claim. I hated how much I wanted him to. The nights were the worst. Silence settled heavy between those thin walls, broken only by the creak of bed springs when one of us shifted. I could feel him watching me sometimes, his breaths measured, his body still like he was trained to outlast me in patience. "You ever gonna ask me why I keep giving you those?" His voice came low one night, right when I thought he was asleep. I froze. My fingers curled into the thin blanket. "No, why not?" "Because I'm not stupid." I heard the smirk in his tone before I saw it in the faint glow of the desk lamp. He leaned on one elbow, his dog tags catching the dim light. "Then you know what it means." My chest ached. I wanted to throw the badge back at him, to tell him I wasn't some territory he could mark. But then he whispered, softer this time, almost like a secret not meant for the air between us. "I don't do this for anyone else." Days at base were brutal. Push-ups until my arms shook, running drills until my legs felt like fire. But the hardest part was pretending Aiden wasn't shadowing me at every turn. He barked orders during training, but his eyes told a different story. Protective, possessive, almost gentle when he thought no one noticed. The others did notice, though. Whispers spread. They teased me, called me Graves' pet, laughed when another badge appeared clipped to my backpack. I hated the humiliation, but what gutted me most was the warmth that bloomed in my chest every time he defended me with a glare sharp enough to silence an entire squad. It wasn't fair. He wasn't fair. The storm broke during inspection week. I'd spent hours polishing boots, folding uniforms, making sure every damn thing was lined up by regulation. But when the sergeant major barked at me for a scuffed buckle, Aiden stepped in. "That's on me," he lied without hesitation. The room went dead silent. No one interrupted an officer not unless you wanted hell to rain down on you. But Aiden stood tall, his voice calm, steady, unshakable. I watched in shock as the sergeant major's fury shifted, redirected, and finally dispersed. Later, back in the dorm, I exploded. "You could have been punished. What the hell were you thinking?" He didn't flinch. He just closed the door behind him, shut us in that suffocating little box of air and silence. Then, slowly, he stepped closer, until the heat of his body reached mine. "I was thinking," he said, "that nobody gets to tear you down. Not while I'm here." My pulse thundered. "You don't own me, Graves." His hand brushed the edge of my collar, almost a caress. "Don't I?" I should have pushed him away. Should have reminded him we were soldiers, roommates, nothing more. But the way his breath ghosted over my skin unraveled me. The way his eyes softened when they met mine told me this wasn't a game. It was war, but not the kind we trained for. And I was already losing. That night I couldn't sleep. His words, his closeness, the steady echo of his breathing, it all clawed at me. Somewhere between the fight and the silence, I realized the truth I'd been too scared to face. I wanted to be his, not just a dorm mate, not just a soldier, not just another boy carrying the same weight on his shoulders. I wanted to be the one he chose, the one his badges were meant for, the one who saw the cracks behind his armor. And God help me, I wanted him to keep marking me over and over again. The next morning, I told myself it had all been in my head, that the heat between us was just the product of exhaustion. Too many nights crammed into the same four walls. But the lie crumbled the second he fastened another badge onto my sleeve in front of everyone, his fingers grazing my arm with deliberate care. The room went quiet. Then the laughter began. Guess Graves has a favorite. Careful, man. He's practically your boyfriend now. The sting of their jeers burned worse than the grueling drills. My face flamed as I ripped the badge off and shoved it back at him. Stop it. Just stop. For the first time, Aiden looked stricken. His hand dropped to his side, his jaw tight, but his eyes were a storm I couldn't read. Without a word, he turned and walked out, leaving me drowning in the silence he left behind. The days after felt like punishment. He kept his distance, barking orders like I was just another recruit. No extra glance, no hidden softness. And it hurt more than the mockery ever had. I told myself I wanted freedom from his claim, yet every night the empty space between us felt like a canyon. It wasn't until a late-night drill in the rain that the dam finally broke. We were running combat simulations when the alarm blared. Live fire training. My pulse spiked. It was chaos. Shouts, mud, gunfire echoing across the field. And in the madness, I stumbled, slipped hard, pain shooting through my ankle. Before I could even cry out, he was there. Aiden dropped beside me, his arm braced around my shoulders, hauling me up with a strength that defied the storm. You're hurt. I can still move. Shut up. You're with me. Bullets cracked in the distance, the rain plastering his shirt to his skin. His breath ragged as he half-carried me toward cover. And through the terror, through the chaos, one truth cut sharper than any gunshot. He'd risk himself without hesitation for me. When the exercise ended and the adrenaline drained, I found myself back in our dorm, ankle wrapped, silence thick. He stood by the window, water still dripping from his hair, his back tense. You could have been shot, I whispered. So could you. That's not the point. He turned then, and the rawness in his eyes undid me. It is the point, because I can't watch anything happen to you. Do you get that, finally? This isn't about badges. It's about you. My breath hitched. Why me? He stepped closer, each word rough with restraint. Because you're the only one who makes me forget I'm supposed to be bulletproof. Because when you laugh, I remember there's more than drills and war. Because He faltered, jaw clenched, then forced it out like a confession he could no longer cage. I love you. The room spun. I should have been shocked, but instead the words settled into me like they'd been waiting all along. My throat tightened as I whispered back, then stop marking me with badges. Graves, if you want me, just say it. Silence stretched, then he crossed the space between us and kissed me. It wasn't gentle. It was fierce, desperate, the collision of months of restraint finally breaking. His hand cupped the back of my neck, pulling me closer, while my fingers fisted in his damp shirt. And for the first time, I didn't fight the claim. I returned it. The world outside didn't soften. The training, the pressure, the whispers, they all remained. But inside that dorm, things shifted. He no longer left his feelings in the shadows. He still gave me badges, but now they weren't marks of dominance, they were tokens of devotion. Slipped onto my pillow with quiet smiles, pressed into my palm after long days. And I wore them, proudly. Our secret wasn't really a secret anymore. The others could see the way he hovered near me, the way his gaze softened when I limped or struggled. Some still teased, but most fell silent when they saw the fire in his glare. And when I caught sight of myself in the mirror, badge glinting on my chest, I didn't see a boy being claimed. I saw someone loved. Months later, when deployment orders came, I thought the ground had been ripped from under me. The thought of him leaving, of not hearing his laugh echo through our small room, of not feeling the steady comfort of his precinct seat gutted me. You'll come back? I asked, voice shaking as I traced the badge pinned over my heart. He tilted my chin up, his eyes steady. I swear it. You're my home now. No matter where they send me, I'll find my way back. And in that moment, I believed him. Because this wasn't just a dorm room anymore, and he wasn't just my soldier. He was the man who had broken every rule to protect me, The man who had marked me not with metal but with something far deeper. Love. So I let him go, with the promise that when he returned, I'd still be here, waiting, wearing every badge he'd ever given Menet because I had to, but because I wanted to, because he was mine, and I was his, forever. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with the latest videos.